Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Think tank panel discussion. We have some very interesting people on stage over here. The Fortune Sunflower Oil Aisa Utsavam, co-presented by Hero Maestro Edge, powered by Renault. A quick introduction. We are India's and the key private sector. The man behind earlier, he's been instrumental in starting my own personal journey. I'd like you all to welcome Mr. Jayesh Ranjan over here. Rasool Pukuti, Indian sound for Slumdog Millionaire. A graduate of the Film and Television in 2005, subsequently has engineered sound for major productions like Musafir, Zinda, Traffic Signal, and Gandhi, My Father. Currently, he is working on a Tamil film. Composer, singer, songwriter, music producer, director, musician, and philanthropist. Music. He's won two Grammy Awards, 2 Academy Awards, 1 BAFTA, 1 Golden Globe, 4 National Awards, and Government of India. His film scoring career began early in 1990 with the Tamil film Rosa. He has the honor of performing at the White House. I'm going to be asking a few questions, and then Hyderabad is home to some of the most valuable technology companies in the world. Uber, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Apple, Microsoft. What makes them choose Hyderabad?
Birad, let me first of all welcome Mr. Rehman and Rasool to the Mecca of creativity. The T Hub is the largest incubator in the country, which has been put together by the government, and some amazing startups are currently incubating their ideas here, and many of them have already started making a very big mark in the world out there. So this is the new face of modern India, when some of the most creative, the brightest young people are brought in an atmosphere which sparks their creativity even further. So when all these companies choose to come to Hyderabad, the fact that these kind of institutions are located here is also a bonus for them. See, most of the large companies these days, they are interested in outsourcing lots of their R&D, lots of their ideational kind of a work. And if they get a platform like this readily available to them, they find it absolutely wonderful. And no other city has this kind of an organized approach towards encouraging startups as we have.
Well, thank you so much. I think that's very interesting. And I'm sure the one ingredient for innovation and creativity required to succeed is perseverance. In your journey, as an engineer of...
Maybe you check, okay.
I think not just perseverance. I think there are 3 things, perseverance, stability, and hard work. I don't think there's an alternative to it. Sometimes people say that somebody is working hard. No, I think working hard is not your perspective. It is someone else's perspective. It's an outsider's perspective that you're working hard. I think when I work, I only work to make me believe in what I'm doing. So I think that is perseverance, that you stick on to something that you believe in. I think you finish your professional courses and you come out into an industry. Sometimes the industry tells you that they don't need you. At the very beginning of my career, I have felt that the whole study that I have done is not important. The industry never needed me. And I thought, as a person who studied, that I have to create the need in the industry. If you look at it, you came to know of sound, film sound as a craft, until probably Slumdog has won the sound mixing Oscar. It took 81 years for any technician from Asia to win an Oscar in sound. And for me, it took 14 years, And when I was in the institute, I only thought that either I'm born in wrong time or in wrong place, And I didn't like actors being treated as mimers in our industry. And I wanted to change that. And I came out and I thought I will only... I think
Check, check, check. Check, 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 check.
yeah. I lost the train of thought. So I wanted to change that. I wanted to specialize in doing live sound. Yeah.
Let's, shall we go without the mic? Shall we go without the mic?
Check, check. Check, check.
Check, yep.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
checking.
Yeah. All right. I think we're good to go. Yeah.
Check, check. Better. Yeah. Okay. So I was saying, I was the last batch who studied in analog, and I came out, there was no analog technology available in digital. I think it is very, very important that we embrace changes every time. I think that's what took me from nowhere to wherever I am today.
Wonderful, wonderful to hear that. AR, today, today's startups, for them, opportunity is like a cheetah on the horizon. They have to run after it, wrestle it to the ground, put their hand down the throat, and grab it. So if you could just share your moments of opportunity.
I personally believe that, first of all, if this is the government building, is it?
Yes.
I like this government. Very cool. So, so I believe that when I left playing for other composers in around 86, 87, my thing was if I didn't have any work, I would practice. I thought practicing or learning about music was my investment. I didn't care about opportunities. I felt like if you are good enough, people will come to you. And you have to raise the standard. You have to prove that you are passionate. And if you just stand there being passionate and do your job great, everybody comes to you. You don't have to go behind people. And that's my belief even now. And I never, it is a jinx when I go behind people. I just wait. I do my stuff, put it out there. Oh, I love this stuff. I want to work with you. Yeah, thank you. Come.
Wonderful. This is really nice. I think great learning that invest in yourself and wait for the opportunity to come to you. Rasool, integrity is a powerful.
I think integrity, why are you asking me all the difficult questions, I think somebody has tutored him. I think integrity is everything, in life, in work. My life is my work. It's not different. There's no difference between my life and my work. And I approach my life like the way I work, I approach my work. Every work I take up, I treat it as my first job, I am jittery, I am doubtful, I don't know what it is. And the last Tamil film that I've done, the producers and directors are not liking what I've done. And ultimately, I have knocked at Rehman's door and said, see, I need something, Then he said, okay, there must be something in that room, you go and pick it up. And I finally picked up something that was lying idle in the studio, and finally that worked. And sometimes there'll be like simple solutions, you think over too much and it doesn't work out. So for me, yeah, integrity is everything. I come from a very, very different social background, My mother was a very, very staunch believer, she used to do 5 time namaz, and she come from a very, very different background. My father from a very, very progressive family, who never practiced religion, and he was in the movement, and he thought of a world which is very, very different. There was no individual wealth and things like that, So I think what I got from both of them is a sense of hard work from my mother and an honesty from my father. I think these two have contributed me and to what I am today. And that's what shaped me up.
Thank you so much. Your life, or the day you were born, and the day you come to know why. We just want to know when you came to know why, and when you realized that you were born for music.
So I never knew that I was born for music. My mother made the choice. I've said in many interviews. And she felt that I will be in music. She had kind of predicted that I will be in music. And so the day I realized that music could be my passion, music could be my future, everything, was when I went to my studio, Panchatan Recording, for the first time. It was built. I didn't have any equipment. I couldn't afford anything at all. It was just a shell. It was just AC, and it smelled very new. It had soundproof. And so I just went there, and I was kind of, one day we'll have equipments all over the place, but now I can't afford it. So that's probably the day I still remember going in and just sitting there and looking at it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Rasool, I'm going to try and Millionaire is inspiring to all of us. Can you share how you got involved with it? The success, the technology, the innovation?
I worked with the line production company on another commercial months before. And the first time I met them, we fought. We fought on the platform of Delhi, yeah. So there was major, problem they have. They also didn't know. So our relationship started by fighting. And the second day, we become closest friends, That's how it started. And I was working in Savary at that time. They called me. And they said, there's a film which Danny Boyle is shooting in India. Would you like to work with him? And I just couldn't believe, because in my hostel room in the Film Institute, I had a poster of Trainspotting in my room. And I just couldn't believe. I said, just hang on. I went to the net and checked, and I read Danny Boyle is actually doing a film in India. And I said, okay, I'm in. And when I first met Danny, Danny is the kind of person, he makes you feel that you are Danny Boyle and he's some nobody, And he had all the information about the work that I have done, and we talked about a lot. And I was only been doing live sound, and he wanted to capture live Bombay as it is, and we talked a lot about it, and we read the script. When I read the script, I told him it's a Hindi film. And said, yeah, that's what I want to do. He said, I want to take the kitsch to a different level. Then first day I went to shoot. First week, then they've been shooting. There's something they call pre-shooting, and they've been shooting. And I landed up on the set a week later. When I landed up on the set, it was completely different. It was not a normal way of shooting films. You take a long shot, mid shot, and close shot. Then you can easily to control sounds and all that. There was not one camera. There were like 6 cameras shooting, and there was no rehearsals. And first week, I was trying to record sound professionally. And I realized that it is not going to happen. After the break of the first week, the second week, I took a decision. I'm not going to record dialogue or actor's performance for this film. I'm going to record soundscape of Mumbai. And within the soundscape, this film is happening. And I was thrown in situations where some of the noisiest location in the world, and I always try to analyze how human brain is process sound. If you and me walking along the street, and the human brain has the ability to ignore all of the sound that we don't want to hear, and we can hear the conversation. But if I keep a microphone, it will not have the intelligence. The only thing, I keep wondering why we won an Oscar when we had films like Wall-E and Batman and all that. And I think, because I always try to analyze how human brain is hearing sound, and I just made the microphones hear it that way. And I used technology to arrive at it, That is how, so I used multi-tracking and multi-microphoning to arrive at it. When, if you put a sound man in a noisy situation, he would pick up the minimum number of microphones. But I have used some 25 number of microphones in one sequence to get the soundscape, And one of my favorite scene in the film is the riot scene, and and yes. We were like microphones all over Mumbai, in that street. So And I just believed in it, and I went after it. And I thought, Slumdog is a small film made by some goras, and nobody will watch it, and my reputation will be intact, you know. And I really thought I was doing disastrous, you know, professional decisions. And I think I think the thought was very powerful. I don't know if I executed it very well. That's very important, you know, that you need to have a strong idea. The execution of that idea can be, you know, it need not necessarily be professional or, you know, to very sophisticated. But the idea will still cut through. I think that's what happened in Slumdog.
I think going to what you said about change, the way you adapt to the situation, what I'm hearing from you.
Yes, thank you.
Well,
Yes.
that's wonderful. I think all our startups also need to understand that you need to have a very strong idea.
Yeah.
I would say technology is an enabler to express because we have a computer. It can't write by itself. I mean, now there's softwares, but the softwares are written by people to write by itself. So we should find a way where we master it and we forget all the buttons and what you think should be what comes out of it. So this is the process of what I've been working on. So if I buy something new, if I'm learning a new software, I would never use it in the beginning. I would keep it in a room and I'll be working on it when I'm free, and it might take a couple of years, 1 year, 6 months, 2 weeks. But when my mind is not searching for buttons, is not, but the communication or the connection between me and my brain and the software disappears. I mean, it becomes like almost telepathic, you know. Then I start using it. So sometimes it's frustrating, but I've been doing that.
Does time slow down when you're doing this? Like you forget about time? You
Yeah, you forget that.
yeah, because I've heard that when you're in the zone.
Sometimes you feel like you've done so much in 10 minutes. Sometimes you've done so little in 10 hours. It happens.
Wonderful. So I need to ask you one question because it's about A.R. Rehman, so I need to ask you that. A.R. Rehman collaborating with Chris Martin at the Global Citizen India to sing Martin.
So, Mr. Rehman, I was there in Mumbai when that happened. I was in the audience. It was really amazing. Actually, we would also like to invite you when the second edition happens here in November. In fact, the second edition of the Global Citizens Festival is being hosted in November. And of course, you will be there and you have to choose whom would you like to sing along with. And we'll go and invite that person also. But Birad, let me ask a question which I have been waiting to ask. And that is something, given the fact that lots of startups are in the audience. Mr. Rahman, of course, you do lots of your work in India, but you're also composing quite a lot for British movies, for American movies. And I'm sure you interact a lot with young musicians, upcoming musicians. So what kind of differences and similarities do you see between the young people there? Is the level of creativity, is the level of talent the same? Or can we say that people in the West are generally more creative, more talented for some reasons? In India, creativity and talent blossoms late. And is that true? And if that is true, what can be done really to ensure that Indians also are treated in the same way as a young person elsewhere in the West particularly?
Everywhere, whether it's India, abroad, we all have the same problems, same passion, but culturally we're different. And artistically speaking, we have more people out there who think free. We are bound by traditions, which is good, and sometimes it's bad because it forces you to, puts you in a box. And now things are opening up. Now because there's so many platforms for expression. You know, if you take YouTube or whether a singer, nobody's blocking them out. There's no, unbreakable fort which is protecting, oh, you can't sing. And anybody who can sing or not sing can be, express their thing. So I find that India is changing because it's the youngest country in the world. And I can see that whole movement happening. And that's the only difference. Otherwise, in color we are different. But in attitude, I think we are more hardworking. And In a way, that's bad too. Because we don't take off. We don't take off on Saturday, Sundays. We say, oh, I can work on Saturday, Sunday. But what happens to your brain? It becomes fatigued. And then you don't get that fresh inspiration. It's taking off is very, very important. Taking a holiday is very, very important. Though I don't take.
Rasool, one question for you. Can you share your thoughts on the future technology in music? I think there are a lot of people.
Okay. Future technology in music, I think AR is more suited to answer that question, because I feel very minuscule in front of him. Every time I go and see what he's working with, I'm very jealous of him in terms of the kind of gear that he uses and kind of gear that is strewn around in the studio. I feel very jealous because I collect even my oldest microphone, keep it dusted, keep it in the corner and all that. So he's much more versatile. I am more of a I'm more of a film person.
This fantastic body language between both of you. We can all see that. It's
I'm more of a film sound person, So I always thinking of using sound for narrative purposes and how spaces can be created, how that can be experienced and all that. There are technologies now which is giving you immersive sound, which is like a very, very new thing. Philosophically, being immersive was the function of sound in the first place. Now physically it has become that. So you experience that in the theaters. That is one thing that is coming up, and which is in practice. What is going to come in the future is that there are no spaces in a theater to put speakers anymore. There's only floor that is remaining. There is speakers everywhere. In terms of putting sources, there are no more spaces within the geometrical space of cinema hall. So the experience of cinema hall is going to go out of cinema halls. Then how do you experience an immersive sound has become the new thing. So the newest experiment that is happening right now is with a traditional system, like old stereo sound that you have in your homes, like a left and right speakers. How you can create height element sound, how we can create psychoacoustic sound with it, because we are left with no space to use speakers. So that is going to be one of the new things that are going to come up. And in terms of music reproduction, where like the shows that AR does, for example, in those kind of spaces, for example, there are going to be simulation of spaces. Like you could be sitting in an open-air theater, and you can actually experience the Sydney Opera Theater. So there's going to be simulation of that kind in terms of music reproduction, where shows and all the outdoor experience of music and other things are going to be experimented, and it's already in the way, and it's going to come in the line. What was the second part of your question?
I think we covered. We said, how do you get opportunities from across the border?
Oh, with the digital, I think that is wiped out. When the day Bill Gates said information superhighway, I think it has wiped out all kinds of borders. And we've been on high steam, all of us. Today, technology is available on your fingertips. But having said that, I just want to add what AR has said in his last question. We come from a tradition in India where we thought we considered sound as knowledge, the knowledge, and so we considered sound as memory. And today we are in a situation where the technology is constantly telling you that you don't need to use the faculty of memory anymore. Okay. If you knew 25 phone numbers earlier, 10 years ago, you know hardly one or two. It's not required. That's where I see work of AR from a perspective of an audience like you. When I listen to AR's work, I feel that he pokes the memory in me. When I listen to a track that he has scored, I hear a Turkish tradition. When he's scoring, he being in South, first time when I heard Dilse, I heard, the sounds of Rajasthan, sound of to your advantage. You should not, when you look at a film like Avatar, you are surprised by and taken aback by what it is created, not the technology. You should not be scared of technology. It's just a
When I see both of you, I think, it's not anymore. You don't think out of the box. I think both of you are standing outside. How important has collaboration been for you?
Collaboration is also trust. It's about trust because, so for me, starting in a studio where I was literally doing everything, like playing, at times when the sound engineer was not there, I was recording, I was producing, I was recording the vocals, I would set up the mics, like all in one, because I wanted that privacy, I wanted that space. And slowly, if I give it to someone, I would never be happy. I'll come back and redo that stuff. Slowly, in 15 years, what happened was, because I was traveling, I needed to trust, I needed to develop, I needed to nurture talent, or the people whom I work with, and make them do things better than me. So I would be like, okay, they would definitely do it better than me. They got more energy. I'm tired, I'm jet lagged. So that happened, and then the school started, the college, music college started. Now we have hundreds of students coming out who are great in different aspects. So one student is great in harmonizing, one is great in recording vocals, one is great in electronic modulation. So it's fantastic to see that whole, and imagine being a leader and then you use all this stuff in the right way, and you have the same energy as before, but much more, in a larger, like a corporation, like a. So this is the whole change which happened, and then that developed into music for movies, which is pretty much the same in India. They come, and I'm not complaining. It works very well, and it's an industry. They come and show 2 romantic songs there, 1 sad song, 1 club song, and 1 climax song, sir. Okay, 25 years, and then I've been hearing this again and again. So that led me to what else can we do? Then you look at Broadway, you look at European art, you look at, and then you see they could be like this, but I don't know whether this movie will run if you do like this, because this formula works, and no producer will produce. So look, why no producer? Why can't you produce yourself?
Wonderful.
And then it's probably a 6-year process where I was developing things and trying out things at home with video and music and doing all this research. Then finally have this movie called 99 Songs, which is directed by Vishwesh Krishnamurthy. He's a musician himself, and he's done work for MTV and Divaris, and I really loved his work. So we actually think alike now. I mean, if I say about a character, he comes up with an idea which is better than that. So it's like a competition, in a good way. So that happened, and then it took 4 years already. And then virtual reality came there, those funny camera there. That came in and blew my mind. I said, this is very, very fascinating. And nobody was interested in it because there are no theaters to make money. So it's a work of passion. And we shot this last year in Rome. And very soon you'll find it. You could see it. And this is probably a movie idea. Narration is based on 360 immersive, and it's got smell for the first time, I think. Not for the first time, but at least we're trying for the first time. Stereo smoke kick, like 2 perfume machines, and that's the narrative. And then we have a chair called the positron chair, which takes you, it makes you feel like you are, in the scene. And there's a car moving, you're really moving with it.
Oh.
And when you put this, you really feel that you're moving, you're going up or down. And there are other haptic devices all in one. There's an experience which we're trying to make it very unique.
I think we're all looking forward to that. Well, we're going to be open. Can someone give him the mic, please?
Working on VR technology. Will it be in future? Can we expect at least 1.30 minutes full-fledged feature film in VR technology? Is it possible, feasible?
So there are a few things you need to know about VR. When I first put the the headgear, I felt like I don't like this. I threw it off. And then when the content got interesting, I felt like this is intriguing. So I had it for 10 minutes. Then there were days where I had it for 6 hours. And I felt giddy later, but then your body gets used to it. And now I'm pretty okay with it. And your question of whether can we see a 1 hour movie, I think you have to take break every 20 minutes. That's what they say. So this Les Musk has got 3 episodes. And it might be like 18 minutes one episode. And so you can take 2 intervals, buy popcorn, eat. Because while you have it on your face, you don't feel like eating.
Yeah, the gentleman over there, please.
Hello, sir. It's not how much hard you work. Like Rasool was saying about hard work. The destination actually drives it. Like, what do you want to achieve? And will you be satisfied is the thing. So, if I have a task or if I have something artistically to achieve, that drives me. So now VR has come in, and then that made me look into 15 sets of cameras, GoPros and Sonys and A7S Mark IIs, and you come to my workshop. Yes, and then John cameras and Nokia cameras, and we are crazy now. We are obsessed, and then we have a team of other 2 people, Srirag and Anand, who don't sleep. So that drives us, like how to get it perfectly. Oh, it looks better. Though it's not supposed to be done that way, we like to do it that way because it feels better. So we were researching on that. An idea drives us, to make it perfect, to make it within our limitations.
Yes, gentleman.
Hello, yes, sir. Hello, Rasul, sir.
You are
I'm sound engineer.
sound engineer, yeah.
So developing the text is the
I
develop.
think as a sound engineer, you need to work with the producer and the composer to say that. I think it's a teamwork. It can't be like, you can't do magic when they've recorded it all wrong or they've programmed it all wrong. So you have to work with the team and say, hey, let's do the song like this. Let's have a sound like this. So have a target and then work towards it. That way it'll be more purer and more you can achieve that, I think.
You'll have to be.
11, I started writing my wish list, and the first wish was to meet you. And today I'm 27. You're right in front of me.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I've been dizzy, and my voice is shivering ever since I know that I've been seeing you and I've been meeting you now. So I just need a nice wish from you, sir.
Hey, happy birthday to you. God
Thank
bless
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Go on. I am the listener first. My music, I just go out of my body and then listen to, will I go and, I keep saying that, but it's so important. If you create and then it could go wrong in many stages. It could go wrong in the mixing, it go wrong in the distribution, so you have to be responsible for that child. You have to be, it's like a child. And you should go out and where is it available? How are people listening to it? All these questions are asked before it's and according to that, we put all the hard work and make it amazing. And regarding classical music, when I keep hearing radios, if there's a void, immediately I tell directors, like, it's important to do something on raga-based stuff or take that. It's important to bring back traditions, and you should not shy away from that at all. Even in the West, you see classical music being used constantly in movies. Because of the quality, not that they're doing a service to classical music, because of the inherent quality, deep resource we have. And I do that now. I've used some kirtanas, I've used folk ideas, not ripping off, but but bringing a nuance of it so people in this generation they don't have to listen to only trap music, but also our own classical music presented in a very dignified way.
We are to our.
I use Oculus, I use Gear VR, I use Vive, I use OS VR. We have everything, we are checking out everything. What? Pizza? No. No. What is it? Okay. I'll check it out. Thank you.
Namaste, sir. For an entrepreneur,
I think it's a blessing. Lowest moments are the blessing. Because that's the time when you can think properly, and then you're out of your ego or any false imaginations, or and then you can work. Those are the moments where I really invest in improving myself, or spend time with my kids, or spend time with my family, because those are the moments which I think it's meant for that. There's no good without bad hiding in it, or there's no bad without good hiding in it. So you have to look at life in that way. You have to look at the other side. Sorry? You have to come for my next concert.
Anybody has a technical question?
Rasulullah,
For us?
lowest times.
Yeah.
You just work. You keep oscillating, that's part of.
Believe in some kind of spirituality. We all believe in there is an infinite source out there. Some call it God, some call it nature, some call it, whatever names we call it. And through that source, we are actually separated from that source. And we just have to remove our veils to see the source, to mingle with the source. And this is the process of life, I feel. And this is my quest. When I'm doing music, I feel like, am I disconnected or connected with the source? And if we find a way or lifestyle which connects us constantly to the source, I think we will be intuitive all the time. And the intuition will be right. That process is the secret for individual. It is personal to everyone. Right?
Well, we'll go for our last two questions.
My purpose of life now is changing. I think initially it was to do good music, and then it was to use the music to achieve greater things. Now we educate children, we educate musicians, aspiring musicians. I'm a filmmaker now, and do whatever to blur the lines of the separation, though walls are being built everywhere, again, to separate people. And how do you break these walls? So, this is my mission now.
Rehman sir.
Very good question. So, usually when I can make a tune on the keyboard, it doesn't matter what language it is, but my mind subliminally keeps thinking about the language. If it's a Punjabi song, there's a kind of potency there. You can't do, you can't do that. It has to be higher. And South Indian classical music has this thing where you can really go lower and still sound great. And then if you have Malayalam, they have a kind of nuance which is beautiful. It's phonetically interesting. And then if it's Telugu, the whole idea of composition changes. Because all the kirtanas, all the beautiful compositions come to you, create an aura. I think aura. And I would say, and then if it's French, again, it's different. English is different. So I think your mind kind of analyzes that stuff and starts working. But I like the surprises. Sometimes when you compose for Tamil and it works in English, and sometimes you compose for English and it works in Tamil. That's what people find, oh, this is interesting. I never heard a song like this. We're always waiting for moments like that.
We've been getting a lot of requests.
इन्ना सोना क्यों रब ने बनाया इन्ना सोना क्यों रब ने बनाया. That's all. This Punjabi, I don't know. Within that space.
He spoke about the college and, well, thank you all so much. I think I want to just. Can just take big. I'll take this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.